Yo guys, it's Slyroh. You already know that today we are back playing some more Raging Loop. The mists have come, we are in our shelter, and we're about to recap everything that we learned as we go into the Feast of the Yomi Purge that we are now going to be starting. So here are the things that we learned today. I found out I could change how things went down. This time, I somehow succeeded in becoming an inhabitant here and saved the journalists. I had no idea if this would make things better than last time, but it was clear things were different. That alone was big, had to be. Also, I had a feeling that there was at least one Yasumizu inhabitant who'd experienced a feast before. This wasn't that new, but now I felt like the elders weren't the only suspects. Takumi-san could have experienced one too. Tomorrow, I could probably ask if there was a miss before, and I could actually make it sound natural. The settlement's history was just as deserving of an investigation as its customs and superstitions. And Rikaku Uematsu. She might have actually been way weirder than I first thought. She fell often and went nuts when you just called her by name. Despite her weirdness, though, there was a certain charm to her. She was kind of like a fancy-looking restaurant that you were afraid to go into, but when you mustered the courage, it turned out to be unexpectedly cheap and sold simple yet nice flavors, make you really attached to it. But, objectively speaking, it felt like she was actually attracted to me, but why? Did our first meeting leave that much of an impression? Not that I minded the attention, but this seemed a bit too good to be true. Whatever the case, I'd formed a bond that I certainly didn't expect last time. Yeah, I feel like there's something up with her, and I'm really hoping that maybe we figure out, like, through this close relationship, we figure out, like, why she started to go crazy last time, like what she was turning into, like why that was happening, and all that sort of stuff. Assuming I solved this whole mystery, what would I do next? Following through on my own lie and actually living here would upset too many parties, so that was a no. And if I left here someday, what would become of my relationships? Rikaku-san didn't look like she'd ever leave this place. What about Chami? Why was I counting my chickens before they hatched anyway? I did appreciate that Chami actually liked me this time too. I wasn't much help to her last loop, so I was kind of fixated on saving her on this one. But there was another way to look at this. That was the feeling born of a trip through hell with her last time, standing by her until the end. But the Chami from back then wasn't the same as Chami from this loop. Any feelings I had for the previous Chami had nothing to do with this one. It was nothing more hollow than chasing after unrequited feelings, right? I'd had enough of thinking about that. It just made me feel empty inside. Time to review more important things, like the previous roles. Okay, Takumi Muro was the snake. Oh, we're gonna get to even if nobody dies, we're going to be able to see if people's roles are the same. Because if we can get any of them to talk about it. But yeah, Chikamochi, Kamashido, and Meiko were the monkeys. Yasunaga, Oribe, and Tai Yamawaki were the wolves. Those were the only clear ones. Now for the rest. Since the spider was supposed to protect the snake, Takumi-san, who died on the second day, it was safe to assume it was someone who died on the first. That was either Kanzo, Makishima, or Yoshitsugu Oribe, and I was pretty sure it was the former. I had no guesses for the crow, though. That guardian didn't really get a turn in the spotlight last time. There was only one standard lynching, after all. In fact, there were far more abnormal deaths. Though I had no idea if those were or were not covered by the crow's power to tell if the lynch victim was a wolf or not. If they were, then perhaps the crow was waiting for a chance to come out, but all who died were humans, and eventually they were out of the game. Or maybe it was someone who couldn't make good use of the power at all. Assuming Kanzo-san was the spider, then I had 7 suspects for the crow. Yoshitsugu Oribe, Haru Makishima, Chami Serizawa, Rikaku Uematsu, Kinosuke Nosato, Kaori Oribe, and the old wolf guy. It could be the old wolf guy, because he's not really able to communicate that, but he could still have the power. First, Yoshitsugu-kun. Honestly, I felt like he'd reveal himself as an owner of a guardian way before Takumi-san would. He was reckless and impulsive after all. Kinosuke seemed like the type to proudly reveal that he had the crow. It was his family's guardian beast after all. Or maybe he was using it to gather information on his own so he could pull out a bunch of his own deductions all at once. No, he wasn't that stupid, surely. Also, he was given free reign until the wolves got to him on the final day. He'd had ample time to do something. Then, Haru Makishima. She betrayed the humans and sided with the wolves, despite the fact that it wouldn't save her life. Needless to say, that seemed insane. The Great Lord Shinai came to her in a dream and told her the truth. What the hell? Who died for that? Was there some other way to create such madness? A method to create a murderer? Was there anything besides what Yasunaga-kun mentioned? I had no idea, but if there was, I really didn't think anyone with a guardian would fall victim to it. If Chami was the crow, I would hope that she'd have confided in me about it. Kaori Oribe, I had no idea. She'd been the only one killed the conventional way last time, but was never really given the chance to speak up. Even if she was, it's possible she'd chosen to keep silent and focus on killing everyone for her son, or she tried to become a shield for him. The old wolf guy made no sense at all. If he'd gotten a guardian, it likely would have just gone to waste. Finally, Rikaku-san. I had no idea what to expect from her. She was the only descendant of the Uematsu family and their current head, so perhaps she knew some secrets known only to the head families. However, from what I'd observed of her today, it really did seem like she just had a bad feeling and come to check. I didn't know how intelligent she was either. She did seem to have a good intuition, but she was also a bit of a klutz. There was also the fact that she'd been eliminated from the previous game due to some kind of strange corruption. Maybe she didn't have a chance to reveal that she possessed a guardian. That meant that the most likely candidates for the crow were Rikaku-san, Kaori-san, and the old wolf guy. What was most important here, though, was if those guardians would be the exact same as last time. There we go. That's what I want to know. If they were, I'd have this feast in the bag. If, to use an extreme example, I went and silently took out Yasunagi-kun and Tai-san, I'd probably fall victim to corruption, but the human side would win. Of course, the participants were different this time, so it wasn't guaranteed that we'd get the same guardians. But if Great Lord Shinai or whatever picked them and had some sort of qualifications for his chosen, the addition of outsiders would change nothing. On the other hand, if our participation could change the guardian assignments, was it random or was there some kind of pattern? Whichever it was, it would mean that there was no higher will intent on giving guardians to specific people. Whatever the case, it would help getting closer to the truth behind the feast. If I found out the rules behind the guardian distribution, I could probably win without trying to read people's minds. The only problem was my whole looping thing. Nobody would believe me if I told them. I couldn't blame them. If I went and said, this is how it was last time, so you're the wolf this time, everyone would think I was nuts. I had to look at this as nothing but a source of extra info to use to my advantage. Alright, that's our recap. And of course, I couldn't sleep. What would happen to me if I spent the whole night awake? Was someone watching me? Did they know I wasn't sleeping? Would they come to kill me? Oh. Yeah, you better sleep. That line of thinking made me feel like I was being watched. What about the locals? They already had the mist and the feast to fear. Could they sleep soundly? I really thought that, like, the mist probably just had something that just sort of forced you to sleep whether you liked it or not. I knew the old stories said they should be able to, but... Oh gosh, Nisha, make me happy too. There was something wrong with the people of Yasumizu. They were normal in regular circumstances, no total idiots anywhere, and not all of them seemed like the sort to lose themselves in superstitious ramblings. However, certain situations seemed to act as a trigger, turning them completely irrational. The absolute extreme fear of the mist. The complete submission to the real story. The lack of aversion toward hanging people. Was that all part of the feast? If so, what kind of psychological systems were at work here? I couldn't understand. I wonder if we're going to get a dream. Does everybody get a dream telling them, like, what's the deal with the feast? I'm not sure. Or no, don't you just get a mark to see if you've gotten a guardian? Things I couldn't understand scared me. Was there a limit to the extent I couldn't comprehend? What if it was just a huge, never-ending downward spiral of irrationality? If that was the case, it'd be pretty damn scary. Oh, man. What? Help? Okay, it's the next day. I'm just so scared all the time. Why does this game put me on edge? I'm just scared that things are going to happen that I'm not going to like. But it's still pretty straightforward. My eyes were closed, but it was bright. Dream. That could only mean that morning had come. Okay, no, we're awake. No, well, yes, but there was something more important. I'd actually closed my eyes and fallen asleep. I got to my feet. Okay. Sure enough, it was morning. I'd actually ended up sleeping. Well, that meant that since I had completed my preparations, I was actually invited to the feast. That was proof that as long as you had a place to stay, you could participate in the feast, even if you'd lived here for only a day. It was 6 o'clock right now. I'd gone to bed way too early, but that provided me a good night's sleep. I couldn't sense any beasts outside. How would you know if you sensed a beast outside? I mean, I guess, like, you could say you didn't hear one, but, like, how else would you sense one? Without any hesitation, I opened the door. Sure enough, there was a mist. Last time, the first one who'd come to me was Jimmy, but that was later than it was now. Was I supposed to wait before making a move? No. This was a chance to learn something I hadn't last time. I couldn't let this opportunity slip me by. Where are we going? Yasumizu was eerily silent. I couldn't see anything. My whole body was covered in cold mist, and I was all alone. It reminded me of my time wandering the endless riverbed before death. Crap. People would despair when they were cold, hungry, alone, and could barely see. This was unavoidable and not something I could win against. I had to find someone right away. Who's there? Suddenly I heard an angry shout from nearby. It made me turn rigid and then... Oh, you. Okay. Early, huh? Kanzo Makishimashi came out of the mist, gun in hand. Good morning. Woke up just now? Yes, nothing special happened. Saw your stomach? Huh? The guardian show on the stomach. Oh, yeah. Jimmy had told me that last time. Also mentioned something about Mako not being able to read it. Go and look. If you say so. Acting like I didn't know what he was talking about, I returned to the hut. Do I have something? Man, that was close. I hadn't even considered the possibility that I'd have a guardian. Well, it was unlikely, but I checked just to be sure. I lifted my t-shirt and exposed my stomach. What is that? I don't know what symbol that is. What I saw almost made me shriek. I hadn't even noticed it. I didn't realize there was something like this on my body. We are something. Wait. We don't need to worry about the roles of anybody else. If we get one of the roles, then we know things are different. It was drawn in a red fluid, most likely blood, and it was nothing that I've ever seen before. Also, there was some eerie text there. I need a mirror. No, I'll take a photo. But we can't just, like, show this to somebody. After a bit of trial and error, I finally read what it said. Okay. The tower lookout. The snake. Find the lurking Yomi. Cleanse and purify or die. Okay. Wait, so we're gonna get to choose who to investigate. Oh my gosh. Okay. Listen. I'm gonna call at least the first couple nights. So we get to see who is good or bad. And we're probably going to try and investigate, like, oh my gosh, what's his name? Or the old lady. The kid that was the werewolf, or the old lady. We're gonna try to investigate one of them, and then they're gonna come back being, like, as a human. And that's going to, like, fully confirm, if we haven't confirmed it already, that the roles are different. Which just makes things a lot more complicated. So this mark was the snakes. Now, so here's the thing. There's a different number of people participating, therefore the Guardians could be different because of that. I wonder if we're ever going to get an option to redo this one and then see, like, okay, well, if the same conditions are met, then are the roles still the same, or do they change because of the new time loop? That's what's going to be interesting to see. But okay, I already have an idea of where things are going, to at least start. I don't know about end. It clearly said the tower lookout. The description seemed faithful to the original source, and it had a certain aura about it. Find the lurking Yomi. The snake's role was to search for the Yomibito. Cleanse and purify or die. Man, not being roundabout at all, are we? Anyway, that meant the corruption would take me if I didn't wash it off, huh? I quickly grabbed a wet towel and washed off the freaky warning. It even smelled like blood. I didn't know what it belonged to, though. If it were animal blood, I might have been in danger of catching something. Man, what were they thinking? Anyway, the snake of all things? Oh, interesting. Alright, so the corruption would have taken us if we got the mark and then didn't wash it off? I'm glad that we checked. Good thing that we ran into the old man, not somebody else. It belonged to Takumi-san last time. He quickly revealed it, and I assumed the wolves used it to their advantage. After all, the snake was a human's only way of actively confirming who was a wolf or not. This made it even harder for me to die. And just like I thought yesterday, the rules had changed a lot. There was now no guarantee that Yasunaga, oh my gosh, I could not think of his name, Yasunaga-kun and Tai-san were wolves. They could easily be humans. The same went for everyone else. It was best to assume that I'd been sent back to square one on that front. Wait, how's I supposed to use the snake's power anyway? The blood letters only said that I was a snake and had to wash it off right away. Did someone know? But if I went to ask, I'd basically be telling them I was a snake. Would there be an explanation during the first feast? I had no choice but to believe. For now, I would just return to the plaza. Yeah, I think, because we as a player got to see the feast, and I do think that they mentioned something about the roles and, like, the snake and how it kind of works, so we might be able to figure out how to use our power. Good morning. I walked through the mist as I called out. Over here, boy. This time, I had no problems meeting up with Kanzo-san. Yeah, okay, I don't know why, I didn't expect us to get a Guardian sign, but that makes so much sense. Okay. Did you check it? Yes. Well? My mom stopped for a second. Well, what? Nothing, don't mind it. He looked away. Was that a leading question just now? If there was something on my stomach, it meant I had a Guardian. I was meant to be a newcomer who didn't know anything. Wasn't it unfair to ask me that? If I'd actually said or even implied that there had been something on my stomach, that'd mean that I had a Guardian. I mean, that doesn't mean anything, because Kanzo, like, if you're a human, you want to, confirm other humans, like, as quickly as possible. And then if you're, a wolf, obviously, you want to kill the humans as fast as possible, so if you have a confirmed human, well, you don't need to confirm anything, but if you know that somebody has a Guardian, then that would make them a higher priority target, so, either way, you want to know, no matter which side you're on, so I don't know if we should trust him or not. Or if I said there was nothing, that could be used against me further down the line, putting me at a disadvantage. If he was a wolf, he knew the implications of his question. Then again, I felt like he retracted his question because he knew it could lead to that kind of misunderstanding. Shit, I'd love to ask that, but I couldn't use knowledge I wasn't supposed to have. Makishima-san, right? Have you looked around yet? That seemed like a yes to me. Is everyone alright? One's dead. It's the big guy reporter. That's my guess. It has to be the big guy reporter, or photographer, because there was a choice involving the that prefab or whatever, and he probably didn't do something right, or something could be weird about that. That's my guess. Huh? Wait, you completely lost me just now. What's going on? Stop making noise, I'll kill you. What? Did he really just use that word so casually? Stay where you are, I don't trust you. He brandished his rifle again. I don't know anything, I didn't do anything. We'll decide that at the feast. He sure was assertive. Maybe he didn't have a Guardian this time? This made me realize I could tell friend from foe by searching for differences in their behavior from last time around. Oh. For now, though, I just had to make it through this awkward moment with Kanzo-san. Yeah, we need to not die. Soon enough, we were joined by the others. Tai-san, Takumi-san, Kari-san, Yoshitsugu-kun, the old wolf guy, Takumi-san and Kanzo-san, then went to the Nisato mansion to the dorm, leaving me with just a woman, a child, and 2 elders. Okay. Hey, old fart. I wasn't one of those old farts, damn it. You mean me? Who else? That's just uncalled for. What is it, anyway? You know anything? Huh? Like what? You got sent to Yasumizu and this happened. It's fucking weird, ain't it? You talked to Iguchi, right? That asshole tell you anything? Nothing comes to mind. I played it off. Looks like the streak of bad luck I've had since Tokyo is still going on. I can sense this situation isn't normal. This message is crazy. Like you don't want to talk. You're batshit. He said that, but his tone wasn't as antagonistic as before. It actually felt somewhat friendly. I can only guess that my act from yesterday warmed him up to me. A bit, anyway. Yoshitsugu, this again? I ain't picking a fight this time, and stop pushing yourself. You're all pale. I'm sorry about this, Fusei-shi-san. And Yoshitsugu, you behave. I don't mind. By the way, Rikage-san and Meiko-chan still aren't here? It seems so. They usually wake up early. I don't give a shit about the village heads. Stop it, Yoshikun. I'll go and call them. The relationships here really were complicated. Soon enough, Tai-san brought Rikage-san and Meiko. Good morning. As she entered the plaza, she looked at our mist-covered faces. Upon seeing mine, she gasped, then gave me a very slight bow. Oni-chan, I rode in my futon and hit my leg. It hurts. Meiko seemed in poor spirits. A bit later, I'll make it better. With some magic words. Magic. I wouldn't have been all that surprised if she was actually capable of that. This is my first time seeing Yasumizu's mist. It's awfully thick. It is my first time as well. I believe we'll have to perform the feast. True. I don't want no fucking family head tell me to do the goddamn feast. Yoshitsugu! I'm sorry for being so powerless. Oni-chan, you're scary. I ain't okay with you being here. You're still a village head, and there's no way to tell what you're thinking. What's your beef with her? Do you hate the village heads that much? Damn right I do. Without them, Mom would've... I'll expose you eventually. Yoshitsugu-kun sure was aggressive this time. Did he have a guardian? This line of thinking felt dangerous. Making too many assumptions seemed more risky than not knowing anything. Oni-chan, Kaka-san was as inexpressive as always, but I could tell she was feeling depressed. Man, things sure are difficult here, huh? Haruaki-sama. She looked around in confusion before. I am relieved that you are well, truly. She then gave me a smile. Hey, it's not like a mist can do much to me, right? Saranaga. That is the name of the river below. Its mists are said to be the breath of Yomi. They are considered to be the worst of ill omens here in Fujiyoshi. Nosato-san told me that people always die when there are mists. She made a stern face unlike any I'd seen on her. What a horrible thing to say to a newcomer such as yourself. Oh, but he said that it's only because the mist is so dense it causes many accidents. Even so, it is imprudent. People still live here. Saying that someone is certain to die is too ominous. I've only been here for a day, but from what I can tell, you're pretty different from the other family heads, aren't you? Why would you think that? Well, the way you talk about Yasumizu, for one. It's nothing like Nosato-san and Kama Fujiyoshi's people. I merely think that it should be shown the respect it deserves. Fujiyoshi as a whole depends heavily on Yasumizu, so... What do you mean? Can you elaborate? I shall tell you eventually. Now is not... Yeah, I understand. It's a bad time for that. I want to protect Yasumizu. Thus, Rikage-san fell silent. Feeling a bit awkward, I resumed waiting. Soon enough, Takumi-san brought Kinosuke to us. He immediately started worrying over Rikage-san as expected, but she seemed unreceptive to him. I might have gotten in the way of his love story. It made me feel kind of bad. Eventually, Kanzo-san returned along with the students. Mamiya-san, watch where you step. Whoa. Seeing Hisako and Mamiya-san with them filled me with relief. Thus, I finally understood what would happen now. Good morning, everyone. Ignoring everyone's gloomy faces, she forced a smile and greeted us like it was a normal morning. The inhabitants didn't respond. I also had a guess about what had happened, so I had trouble picking my words too. What's wrong with you all? Sure, this is a dense mist, but what about it? Wait, is Hashimoto-san still asleep? Again, no one responded. He's up the hill, right? I'll go check. No point. Kanzushi opened his mouth, taking it upon himself to say it. I could already hear some stifled sobbing. It was Haru-chan. Not only was she afraid, she'd also realized that a tragedy had occurred. Mami-san realized that something was wrong and was about to ask about it when... Big guy's dead. The crude old man just told her what's up. Yeah, sometimes it's just how you gotta do it. Dead? What are you... he's lying dead near the landslide. What kind of nonsense is that? She instantly lost her composure. The unnatural aura around here was suddenly starting to get to her. Don't mess with me like that. We must fix our van and leave as soon as possible. I'll go wake him up, myself. Stay where you are. What right do you have to... Makishima-san. I raised my voice because Kanzushi reached for his gun again. This has to be a joke. What is this? Am I being punked? Did you burst the tires for this? Oh, that makes sense. We still don't know your rules. There's no guarantee that we'll do what you want just because you have a gun. What's your deal? You should stop that, old man. What's gotten into you? You always tell us never to point guns at people. Kanzushi silently lowered the gun. If it's not a joke, then it's a crime. You're going too far. Stop it right now. I'm leaving this instant. Mamiya-san, was it? Sorry, but that won't fly. You can't leave until the mist clears. And sorry to say this, but your partner's gone. Someone killed them. Killed? What are you saying? Takumi, take her. Can you handle blood? You're joking, right? I'll go with you. He helped me a lot. Alright. You'll have to help me, though. With a cleanup, I assumed. Alright. I shall go as well. Mako, you stay here. I'll go too. Me too. That shit doesn't scare me. How absurd. He must have tripped on something because of the mist. The place happens, to belong to me, so I guess I must see it, too. How troublesome. We got so many volunteers that besides the old people in Mako, the only ones who ended up staying were Kaori-san and Haru-chan, both of whom didn't look so good. Oh boy. Takumi-san led us uphill. Since we went through the fields, some of us fell or got stuck, so we took a whole 10 minutes. Still, we arrived at the scene of the crime. What I saw there was almost exactly the same as what I saw last time. There was a brutalized corpse. It was close to the prefab, next to a waist-tall boulder, which did little to hide the large body. It was thoroughly destroyed. The entire frame had been torn apart and bent as if to systematically detach his muscles, insides, and bones from his body. The only things that hinted at who this once was the scattered pieces of clothing and the impressive amount of flesh. Once again, Yudai Hashimotoshi failed to survive the first night. So he went outside last night. As Takumi-san muttered to himself, "What is that?" Mami-san finally broke her disbelieving silence with a hysterical scream. What happened? What happened to Hashimoto-san? How did he end up like... Mami-san, please calm down. How can I? Why? Why did this happen? This is just, Mami-san stopped mid-sentence and began puking. She either screamed herself into vomiting or caught a direct glimpse of the corpse. You're not the only one who wants to scream. Crap. I don't want to die because of some old story. You knew about this? Huh? You knew this would happen? I asked him that while feigning anger and despair. Can't say I did, but we heard that this happens. Miscome, people die. Those deaths were caused by accidents. That's what I thought. I believe what the village has told us too. And look at that, they were lying. Who lied about what? What are you saying? The so-called Nukami have come back from the dead? Don't act like you don't know shit. Monsters and gods don't just pop out of nowhere. It's the village heads. They must have sent some beasts here. Stop it, you two. Rikaku's-san's faint yet stern voice cut their argument short. She then faced Hashimoto's-san's body and lowered herself before it. It is our duty to give proper treatment to the guests who failed to prepare for the feast. We should, at the very least, let him go to Yomi in peace. I shall take in his corruption. Oh. Rikaku-san, then... What are you... Rikaku-san was inching her face closer to the pile of flesh and bone when... Get away! Mami-san suddenly cut in, stopping her. Hey, what are you doing? Stop! Don't hold me back! Her voice and face were borderline demonic. None of us could bring ourselves to stop her. She leapt over the corpse and, ignoring the blood, began sifting through the remains with her hands. It has to be here. Oh, there's something important that he has. I suddenly realized what she was doing. I'll help. She didn't respond nor stop me. She completely lost her cool, but that madness was under control. It was clear this wasn't some unreasonable panic. After all, he must have had it. I began helping her roughly search the body. I don't know what we're looking for. Haruki-san, what are you doing? The camera. He might have taken some photos. Oh. This kill was the same as last loop. The body was torn apart with no rhyme or reason. I felt something stiff in my hand. It was hair. It was close to the head. Don't overthink it. His camera must have been on his neck. I could follow this hint, and I felt a cord in my hand. Found it. Where? It was a thoroughly broken, expensive-looking digital camera. It must have cost a fortune, but Mami-san didn't care and just opened it. Monsters? No way. They don't exist. She muttered that in delirium, took out his memory card, threw the camera away, and ran off. Hey, where are you going? Takumi Nichan, take care of the rest. The two disappeared in the mist. You know anything, Yasun? Not much, but... look, the prefab doesn't have a toilet. Oh! So he had to leave to take care of his business. He didn't know how important the preparations were, so this result was obvious. I should have been the one to stay in the prefab. That's the key. There we go. Okay, because I remember that being weird that a choice came up when it said something about the prefab, and then... Yeah. So there has to be a reason for us to stay in the prefab. Okay, because we can hold it, I guess. Or, like, we just know how important it is to just stay inside. He died because of me. But I couldn't let myself wallow in regret. So that means that it's oh, maybe we get multiple keys at the end of this loop. Because, like, we're going to die at some point, right? Maybe we die soon. Maybe we just die, like, tonight or something. And then we just get a key that leads us to switching before we actually finish the whole loop. Because I was like, oh, we're going to finish the whole loop, and then we'll get a key. But, like, one key at the end of the loop isn't going to give us the information to, like, know that we need to switch places. We have that information now, but to get a key, we have to die. Which means I think we're just going to die, like, before the feast ends. Interesting. Okay. Rikako-san approached the body again, but Takumi-san put his hand on her shoulder. You don't need to do that. But I don't rely on some mysterious village head shit. Don't make me. Things will just get worse. And you, Uematsu, always get the short end of the stick, don't you? Just put your hands together or something. Takumi-san's tone was neither calm nor sympathetic. I had no idea what he meant by short end of the stick. But for some reason, I felt like he was protecting her from something. So, is she taking in corruption of people that have been corrupted or whatever? And maybe that's what turned her into, like, that thing from last time? Very well. Rikako-san did as she was told and put her hands together before chanting some sort of prayer. Yoshitsugu-kun watched her with a scowl. Rikako-san. Kinosuke missed his chance to talk to her, so he was just frozen in place. Yasu, Yoshi, Chikamochi, take everyone and go back. Then wash your hands and prepare to eat. Alright. Don't order me around. Let's go, Rishan. Sato-san, it's time to leave. I don't need you to leave me. Let's go, Rikako-san. Thus, they all left. Sorry about this, Fusaishi. Oh, you can count on me for this much. Takumi-san and I began cleaning up Hashimoto-san's body. We couldn't remove the door, so we carried him on board from the destroyed construction site. And so we dropped him into Saranaga. I listened carefully, and I thought I actually heard his flash this time. So there was a bottom after all. Then, why had we gotten lost in that one loop? I don't know. Thinking on that possibility, I parted ways with Takumi-san, then returned to my hut and wash the blood off. And I think because it's a little autosave opportunity, meaning that the game is going to be taking this in another direction. So I think we're about to start the feast soon, but I am going to go ahead and wrap up this video here. And hopefully the next time is like the meeting part of the feast, where I'm sure there's going to be a lot of details of how things work. We can figure out what we're doing. We'll see if we get a chance to use the snake's power, or we see if we die in some way before we even get a chance to do that. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm excited to keep playing and find out. So hopefully you are looking forward to that. If so, let me know. But I'll see you around the next time. So till then, peace out.